Hello, and today I'd like to talk about the differences between the Black Dog Machine X4 magazines and the Gen 2 magazines. As some of you may know, they actually discontinued their Gen 2 magazines, so you cannot no longer get these unless you get them through licensed through Sig Sauer, but those are very expensive. Again, this one is licensed through Sig Sauer, but that's just because it happens to be. They're the same magazine, it's just one has Sig Sauer on it. And then we have the X-Form, which is also the Generation 4 magazine, which is the current production and is replacing this one in production. Both of them are available in either the black or the smoke color, so this one you could get in black now that it's discontinued. This one does come in the smoke or black color. So let's go ahead and just see any size dimensions. If I stack these up here and I'll do a over the top view, you can see they're pretty much the same size. They line up pretty well. I will talk about, again, you can see the follower on the Gen 2 is longer, but I will talk about that in a minute. So, the major difference between these two magazines is the feed lips here. Is that the Gen 2 is a solid feed lip built into the magazine, whereas the X-Form, their big thing is that this feed lip is actually removable. So you can open up the frame and remove this feed lip, which is nice. You can replace it if it gets damaged. You can put a stainless steel one on. I didn't think I really needed one, so, and again, if they do get damaged, I can just replace it. So yeah, alright, now, let's talk about the followers here. Now, these are both 10 rounders, well, supposedly 10 rounders. I live in a state where we're required to have 10 rounders, but this one, it truly holds 10 rounds. As you can see, the follower there is short. This one holds 9 rounds. And the reason that is because this is their extra long bolt hold open follower. I don't really understand why they did this. This holds the bolt open just fine, at least on a Sig 522. I will speak to that later. So, again, let's go over loading the magazines. I have some Federal hollow points here. I have tried it with 3640 grainers. They all work, they all feed just the same. So what you're going to do is you're going to press your follower down and press the round in and slide it over. You're going to press the round in, slide it over. Press the round in, slide it over. And you do that until your magazine is full. Now if I'm counting, it is relatively easy to do. I'm doing it behind a camera, so if I fumble, that's why. But once you fill it up, it should hold 9 rounds. Yep, so there's 9 rounds loaded in that guy right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. 9 rounds. And then loading for the Gen 4 is just as easy. Press down and slide over. I noticed it's actually a bit easier to get the rounds in on this guy. The spring tension is a bit less, but again, I have not had any feeding issues. And again, I mean, I won't put more rounds in there. This one holds 10 though, a full 10 rounds. Let's go ahead and unload these guys. Okay, and we'll move the ammunition off to the side. Now I'll go over some of the differences they made in the construction of the magazines. They are constructed of a screw, 2 pieces, molded glass-filled nylon pieces that are screwed together with hex screws. Can be removable with the standard American hex screw. You just go in each of these screws and you can unscrew them. I'm not going to do it right now because I already have one disassembled here. So here are the 2 magazines disassembled. And again, be careful when you disassemble it because the pieces will shoot out. But let's take a look on the inside. I'll move this one over. I'll move the Gen 4 over. And we'll take a look at the Gen 2. So when you open up the Gen 2, you have your spring and your follower. Your follower attached to the spring up here. And your follower rides in these grooves right here. Let me zoom in a bit. Low. Does not want to zoom. There we go. Okay. So your follower just rides down these grooves here and stops up top here. When they're screwed together, obviously. Let me zoom back out. Slow zoom. Okay, and on the bottom you have your base plate, you could say, that slides across. This little dimple in the bottom here fits in the hole in there, and obviously you put your spring tension in and you can fit your follower back in. So that's essentially the basic construction. It's actually a rather simple construction, there's not much to it. But let's go over some of the construction features. Let me empty out the screws. Okay, so you got the two glass-filled nylon pieces that pry apart. Very sturdy, does not bend at all. I don't get any flex out of this. Got the zigzag construction here where you don't have any rounds going. So overall, it's a very solid magazine. No play in it whatsoever. No problems. So that is inside the Gen 2. Let's go ahead and take inside the Gen 3. Now, working with the Gen 4, that's what I meant. Anyways, working with the Gen 4, it almost seems like it feels a bit, I don't want to say chintzier, but it feels lighter in the hand when you get them. They're definitely lighter, and it doesn't feel, maybe it's just me, it doesn't feel as solid. I think some of that may be attributed to the fact that they use less material here. Maybe it's the fact that it's a different material, but it just feels like thinner. It doesn't feel as sturdy. Again, they both feel, there's no play in them. They both feel solid, but this one just feels sturdier in the hand. That's just my opinion. Okay. Now again, it would be, the feed lifts here are one piece, so it isn't half a feed lift on each side, which actually does help with feeding. These can feed more reliably than these, and I'll talk about that later. But you simply slide the feed lip in, and your follower, again, rides along the grooves, slides right up in the follower, in the feed lips. You can close your guy up. Again, you got the base plate on the bottom, works exactly the same as the Gen 2. Okay, so let's move these over, and let me talk about field strip and maintenance. So this one has not been used, this one has. So you can see here there's some carbon fouling on there. You know, they do get dirty. I noticed that they don't really lose reliability when they get dirty. They still work pretty much 100%. But for those of you who do want to clean, you can press this little divot in here with a small object, like a small screwdriver. You press that guy in, if I can get it. Okay, you're going to press that guy in, you're going to slide. You can see, once you got that pressed in, you're going to slide your base plate over till you got your base plate out. And then again, the spring comes out. Your spring slides out, and your follower would come out. However, these are the 10 rounds, so you got the little block here, because these are 15 round bodies, and they put like a little block to make it 10 rounds. So the follower actually does not come out unless you take apart the magazine completely. So that's kind of a bummer for the 10 rounds. It's not very easy to clean that follower, but if you do have the longer ones, there'll be no problem with getting that follower out. And again, assembly is just as easy once you've cleaned up your parts, whatever you want to clean up the feed lips, get some soap water in there. Just put your spring back in the riding there. Press your press your base plate across. Once you got part way done, you can use a small object to press that down, get the divot across, and then divot pops back in. And again, it works exactly the same on the Gen 4. The main difference is these polymer feed lips. Okay, so let's move on. One major issue with some of the earlier Black Dog magazines that since has been addressed is the feed lips being too wide, and specifically too wide for the SIG 522. I actually, when I got the SIG 522, the magazine that came with it had that problem. It wouldn't fit up in the mag well. Neither of these have that problem. I was hoping I wouldn't have that problem with this, and I was pleasantly surprised when I didn't. So let me get this guy up here for a minute. Okay, let me set him down here. This is my Signify 22. Okay, and we'll just do show you that these mags both fit in. Fits in. There is a bit of play, but it's not bad. Plus the fact that once you have the bolt closed, it doesn't wobble at all. You can see in there. This fits in the chamber. Again, I did safety check this, and the bolt was open. Safety is on before I did the video. Okay, so we'll take this guy out. Clear. Again, no rounds in this magazine either. This guy fits in just the same. And again, when you pull this back, the bolt locks back as well. So I don't really understand why they have this extra bolt hold open follower. It doesn't really make anything different. This holds open just the same. So yeah, I was very pleasantly surprised and happy that they fixed that problem with this. So I would show you a ammunition feeding test, but we are not in a place where I can do that safely, so I will not do that. But if anything, the Gen 4s feed more reliably, and I'll speak to that in a minute. The only problem that I've had with these guys here, the Gen 2s, is the fact that this little opening here is a bit too wide, so that if you get the second round pushed forward with the first round, I've actually had that happen, it locks up. So if this round is a bit too far forward, you push this guy in. I don't know if I can set it up here, but this guy can actually get a bit too far forward. I don't know, it's kind of hard to see, but this groove in the front is a bit too wide. It's wide enough for 2 rounds to get stuck in there, which causes for some jams. Again, not frequent, maybe 1 in 100 rounds, not too bad. Now this guy, the feed lips are all one piece, so you can really get it down, and you can see that round's buried down there. This groove isn't quite as big. In the back, this area back here is widened for the bolt to come forward and strip around. So yeah, I would say the feed lip and feeding design is superior on the Gen 4s. So that's pretty much it. I just wanted to do a quick comparison. I didn't see too many comparisons, opinions, one or the other, about these magazines, because these are now not available, so I just figured I'd do a little comparison to show you the difference. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll be looking forward to do some more.